Hello quilt artisans, my name is Shonda and welcome to my channel Under the Needle. So I'm standing today because I'm going to be showing you guys some quilts. So back in late January I did a video called Two Sew-Alongs and a Retreat Oh My or something like that. And I was basically just telling you guys about the sew-alongs or quilt-alongs that I had planned to join. And there were two specifically. There was the Jackie quilt along that was being hosted by Gudrun Erla over at GE Quilt Designs, and then there was also the dog pile quilt along being hosted by Pen and Paper Patterns. Say that 10 times fast. So I did join those, and I didn't want to do weekly updates. I think the last time I did a couple of quilt alongs, I did weekly updates where I showed you guys my progress, and I didn't really want to do all of that, so I decided to just do the quilts, since all of them were ending around the same time, that I would just do them together and then provide an update once everything was finished. So, but in that process I found a third sew along that I decided to join, and that was the Stronger Together 2022 that was being done by over at Fat Quarter Shop, and the pattern designer, I cannot remember her last name, but her first name is Charisse, and her Instagram is So Hooked on Treasures. Her website is also So Hooked on Treasures. And this particular pattern and sew along was to support the United Negro College Fund, and that was important to me, so I decided to join that one as well. So I've got them all done and pretty proud of myself because I got them pretty much done on time. With the dog pal, I got a little lucky because she gave us a catch-up week. So I ended up finishing that on time. The Jackie quilt, I think I was a couple of days behind, and I think the Stronger Together quilt, I finished it like on the last day or like the day after the last day, but I feel pretty good. That's 3 quilts in like 6 weeks or less. So, pretty proud of myself. So I'm going to show you guys this one first. This is the Jackie sew along that I did, again hosted by Gudrun Erla with GE Quilt Designs. For this one I chose the Tilda Garden Life as my base, and then I used this boundless solid here called Shadow, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think you can buy this anymore. Well, I think there still might be some random fabric out there, but I don't think it's being made anymore, which is a shame because this is probably my favorite solid that I've seen ever, and the most useful because it's almost neutral. So it's kind of gray, but yes, it's kind of blue, but it's super light. I love it. It pains me that I think I only have like 3 or 4 yards of it left, but I love how it came out in this quilt. Because what I wanted was, I wanted the fabric to stand out on its own. And then I wanted the solid to kind of fall back and just recede into the background and not compete with the beautiful Tilda fabric. So try to hold this up. So you can kind of see the blocks there, and I'll do it in the reverse now. But this quilt came out exactly the way I wanted it to, exactly what I hoped for. And you can see this blue really blends in with every single print in this line, like every single print. Like, it couldn't have been more perfect. Like, it really couldn't have been more perfect. So, really love how that came out. Really proud of it. So, then the next one was the dog pile quilt along. This is a pattern by Pen and Paper Patterns. They also did the Sparrows pattern that I like a lot. But these little puppies are just adorable. Now, I chose to alternate my colors. So here you have the with the orange nose and the orange ears, and then on this one you have the reverse with the orange body, but you have the green ears and the green nose. But you don't have to do it that way. You could theoretically make all your puppies different. You could make all your puppies the same. It's really up to you. You make 4 of the same block and then you just rotate them. Now the original pattern has a pieced piano key border. I'm not really a fan of the pieced piano key border, so my quilt finished a little, excuse me, a little bit smaller because there would have been an additional border. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a brown binding, because this fabric here that I use for the collar is brown. Now, I also pieced my back already. I like a good pieced back so I can use up all the extra fabric. And so I did a pieced back. This is going to be my pieced back. You can see I basically used all of the colors from the dogs, the pink and purple, and then the orange and the green, and then the color on the edge, that's the bone, that's the color that I used for the bones. And then here you have the brown all around the outside, and the brown is what I used for the collar in the little doggies. So, like this. I don't have I did not piece the back for the Jackie quilt. I did not piece the back because there just wasn't enough fabric left over to piece the back, if I'm not mistaken. There's some fabric left over. I don't know. I found a 108 that I'm thinking about using. I'm not crazy about it. So I haven't decided 100% if that's what I'm going to use or not, or if I'm going to try to do something else. I haven't decided. I still have to figure that out. Then the last one that I did was the Stronger Together. And that's this one here. And I just kind of picked some fabric from my stash to do this. This was easy to put together. The only thing that I would do differently, and this is something that we learned, right? Here, I don't have enough contrast here. This is like a zigzag block. And because I used two darks, there really isn't sufficient contrast here. So I kind of wish I had taken this yellow here and used that in the zigzag block, and then maybe taken this blue here that's in the zigzag and used that blue here. Is kind of what I wished I had done. I wish I had changed it a little bit, or kind of chosen my colors a little bit differently. But all in all, I'm happy with it. It's not like this is a full-size quilt. It's not like I made 12,000 of these zigzag blocks. It's not like my whole quilt is this zigzag block and my whole quilt doesn't have contrast. The quilt has contrast, it's that block in the middle does not. But that's kind of the signature block there because it's right in the middle. But again, this is a wall hanging size. This is not some type of full-size quilt. This is a good practice quilt, you know, to practice free motion and stuff like that. So I'm really not super upset about with the lack of contrast in the middle block. I'm fine with it, really. So I think that's pretty much it. The retreat hasn't occurred yet. The retreat is going to be later on this month. So got some time for that. So between now and then, I'll just be working on the sew along that I'm hosting. And if you want to know about that, you can look at that video up there, wherever it is. So that's it for me, and I will see you guys next video.